Got a 14 karat gold ring and a nail. The Equinox, Deus, and the Simplex, all with the small coils on it. The sniper coils, right? The smallest coils that you can get for these machines. And I'm going to test it down the barrel and perpendicular to it. Start out with the Equinox here. The Equinox is really good at plucking low conductive targets out of the iron. I just factory preset this machine. I had to dial it in just a little teeny bit, but I'll go into Park 2, multi-frequency. Gain is at 25. Iron bias is at 0. Recovery speed is at 6. I'll swing over this. You know, nothing there, right? There's no evident targets. It's just a bunch of iron there. I'll set that iron nail down there. Turn on my iron. I'll actually raise my volume up here a little bit so you guys can hear it. Just a little bit of falsing on it. I think Park 2 falses the least amount. Falses the least amount on iron. It's falsing a little bit there, you know. Give me a penny tone. The nails do that. I'll put this gold ring right there. I'm gonna smack it right out. Oh, actually, move it away just a little teeny bit. Right there. See how it raises? Watch, it'll raise my tones and my numbers. I get a lot more falsing on there. I'll turn my iron off. Still hitting it big time. Park 2, 4 kilohertz. Nothing. It's falsing on the iron, right? It's hitting a little teeny bit. But it's giving me a high tone. It shouldn't be a high tone, right? 5 kilohertz. I'll turn the iron. See, it's giving me multiple tones there on the iron. The Equinox does that. It gives you multiple tones on the iron when you turn the iron on. 20 kilohertz right here. Actually, I'll go to 15 kilohertz, kind of close to the Simplex frequency right here. Not hitting it very good. 40 kilohertz. Park 2. Spanking it out big time. So I'm talking about the Equinox is deadly at getting low conductive targets out of the iron. If there's a lot of iron, it's going to struggle. Any machine's going to struggle getting a target like this out of the iron. But it's so solid, right? It's a nice and solid tone there. But I'll stick it in multi-frequency. See, you get multiple tones on that target there. It really messes with your tones and your ID on that because the iron is there, right? I'm getting a little bit more falsing on the iron in multi-frequency. I'll go to Park 1 here. Multi-frequency. Barely hitting it, right? Multi-frequency. It's hitting it good not really. It's not hitting it very good in Park 1. Not very good. Because it favors the lower frequencies. Park 2 favors the higher frequencies, and you want higher frequencies for gold. And I'll go to 4 kilohertz right here. Nothing. Right? Nothing but iron. Oh, it's hitting it a little bit right there. But that's too easy of a target right there, right? It's actually not an easy target for Park 1. 4 kilohertz just won't hit it very good. 15 kilohertz right here. Get a lot of falsing on the iron. The iron's really strong there, right? It's still hitting it right there a little bit. Now I'll go to 40 kilohertz. spank it right out. I can pinpoint it a lot easier. See how the iron tones kind of went away? I'll put in 4 kilohertz here. Lot of iron there. Here's 5. It's not hitting it yet. Here's 10 kilohertz. Not hitting it yet. 15. Not hitting it yet. 20. Now the tones are starting to come in and the iron is being rejected. It's not discriminated out. It's just rejecting the iron. You know, literally the higher frequency that you have, the lower tones the iron is going to be, and it's going to reject the iron. 40 kilohertz. Look at that. The iron tone just went away, and I still have my iron on. You can't even hear the iron coming through, right? Right, I'm going directly over down the barrel to that. Now I'll put in 4 kilohertz. Nothing but iron. I'll turn this machine off so it doesn't affect the Deus too much here, if I can get it. And I'll just stick the Deus in pitch tones. How about that? Number 4, preset program, stock program pitch. And it's in 14 kilohertz right now. My iron volume's at 3. I'll drop that down to 2 or 1, just so it's not so loud. That's at 14 kilohertz. Not hitting it very good. I mean, it's hitting it a lot better than the Equinox. I'll take that gold ring out of there, right? Just iron, right? The Equinox just doesn't pulse on, or the Deus does not pulse on iron, right? It doesn't give you high tones on iron. I can discriminate up a little bit higher and make that iron tone go away a little bit. That's at 14 kilohertz, right? This is at 31 kilohertz. So evident. I'll take that gold ring out of there. Right? It doesn't pulse on the iron. Now listen to the iron. The iron's coming through. I'll actually go down to 14 kilohertz and I'll show you what the frequency does to the iron. I'm getting the iron. The iron tone is really rich right there. Now I'll go to 31 kilohertz. Listen to it. That lower conductive target, that ring, is popping out a lot more of the iron, because the iron is a lot lower tones or a lot lower volume. Now I'll go up to 74 kilohertz. You won't even be able to hear the iron now. Nice and clean. I'll take that gold ring out just to show you. And the higher frequencies does pulse on these nails a little bit. But the nails are very evident. But the targets, these lower conductive targets and the higher conductive targets, really pop out of the iron. The iron is very evident, right, in the higher frequencies. And I'll put it in hot program here. I'll just go to the stock hot program and show you the difference between these programs here. Because that's basically a depth program. The pitch program is like a depth program. It's telling me the depth, it's indicating a depth, and it's a size, right? The hot program is more of a tonal program. It's giving me a full range of tones. It's giving me iron, and it's giving me the mids, and it's giving me the high conductive targets. So go down with the 14 kilohertz. Start out at 14 kilohertz. Watch. It's low tone. It's very close to the tone of iron, that ring, in full tones. But I can hit that target directly above, swinging parallel, perpendicular to that nail, and it's hitting it. See, watch. I'll take this take that gold ring out. Now I'll put that gold ring back in there. Now I'll go up to 31 kilohertz frequency. The iron is being rejected now. And it actually raises the tones up on this machine here too, going this way, just like the Equinox was doing. Now 74 kilohertz frequency. Now that lower conductive target has a higher tone to it. I'm not changing anything but my frequency here in Hot Program. And I'll take this out of here. This is the reason why I like the higher frequencies. See? There's no target. But it's hard to learn the tones of the Deus, because in full tones, those lower conductive targets are very similar to the iron tone, right? But that's definitely an overload, low conductive target, not a nail. I love the Deus in iron, man. Here's the Simplex on that same target here. My recovery speed, or my gain, is all the way up. This is 278 with the SP24 coil on it. Park, or I'll start out in field mode. I'll even drop my gain down here, right? I think on the Simplex, the gain has nothing to do with performance. Very little to do with performance. It has to do with tones, right, in the field program. So I'll jack it all the way up again here, and I'll just reject the iron. I'll reject all the iron. Here, try to hit it. Nothing. Sounds like an iron pulse, right? Go with this iron here, right there. It's clicking, popping, right? It's hitting it right there, but I have to be swinging very, very slow. It's 12 kilohertz machine, right? I don't have any options of frequency adjustments. Here's Park 1. It's going to hit it over here. But if you're swinging down the barrel of a nail, it's going to sound just like iron, right? It's going to skip right over that target. Here's Park 2, the faster recovery speed. I think that Park 2 pulses on iron a lot more than the other modes. You know, just not hitting it like the higher frequencies, like on the Deus and the Equinox. And I'll show you something right here too. I'll even show you that the Park 2 pulses on iron a lot more. I'm getting just a little bit of high tones there. See, I'm getting high tones. Park 1. It's a lot tighter tone. The iron is a lot tighter tone in Park 1. Here's field mode right here. Actually, my iron is all the way down, so I'll just go to 2 bars of iron. And I'll show you what this gold ring sounds like in field mode. It's going to be really, really high tones because it's right on the surface, right? Now I'll back it out. Back out about 8 inches away. Now I'll put it in field, or Park 1. Back all the way out till I'm not hitting anymore. It stays the same tone, right? So this, the field tone is very similar to the Deus pitch tones. Very similar. Here's Park 2. I'll put that iron back in there, right? Huge difference. There's a huge difference. I love Simplex, man. Don't get me wrong with this video. But in the iron, man, the Simplex is going to struggle big time, right? Because it's a 12 kilohertz machine. You saw that. The high, whenever I went into higher frequencies on the Deus and the Equinox, those iron tones, the volume level lowered on there, and those lower conductive targets that are just above iron in the range stood right out. With the Simplex, I can't adjust the frequencies. But this new machine that's going to be coming out, you'll be able to do that. I'm not a huge fan of running multi-frequencies at the same time because sometimes you get some EMI in a certain frequency that that's in your simultaneous range, and you're not able to notch those frequencies out that are giving you the problems. But hopefully this new machine that Nox is coming out with, you can notch those frequencies out that are giving you a hassle. And with the Equinox, that's why I've struggled a lot with the Equinox, because it's a simultaneous multi-frequency machine. And if you're getting some kind of EMI within those ranges, within that range of frequencies that you're running, you just can't use it, right? Because it's just gonna go berserk. You know, you're gonna get a lot of EMI. And why have a multi-frequency machine if you can only run one frequency at a time for most of the time? You know, I prefer the multi-frequency because really it does do a lot better than the single frequencies on there. But when I get high EMI, I just can't use my Equinox, you know. But it's very stable. The tones on the Equinox are really smooth, very, very smooth tones, and it hits on those targets really good. And round iron, you know, it struggles with the tones. You know, you get a lot of bumping, a lot of tonal change. But with the Deus, man, it's solid in the iron. With the Simplex, you know, you saw that the iron is really loud on the Simplex, and if you drop the iron volume all the way down, you're just going to get a bunch of clicking and popping. It runs really unstable, especially in my hotter soil here. You know, my soil's starting to crack here, so it's drying out a little bit. I'm liking that. It's harder to dig in, but the cracks means that the moisture is coming out of the soil, and I'll be able to hit those higher conductive targets a lot better. You know, when the ground is wet here, this hot soil becomes very unstable, and a lot of machines just struggle in it. Well, thank you for watching. Please subscribe.